Guys, we are back for a hobby talk interview, and we have a very special guest, the one and only Jeff Johnson. He does operations management. He's the head breaker. If you've participated in Cardlines Breaks, you've probably seen him there ripping your cards. So we're going to have some fun today and talk about breaking. Thanks for joining the video, Jeff.
Jesse, thanks for having me, and appreciate the chance to talk to our Cardlines family and tell you guys a little bit more about some of the things we think are important for breaking and how much we appreciate the Cardlines family.
I'm excited too. It's kind of weird because, like, obviously you have like back end access to our YouTube as well, so it's not really like I'm the host here. If anything, Jeff is hosting me, but it's still fun. So who cares about the optics of it? You know, we'll just get into it. Tell me, sir, what made you get into breaking?
Oh man, it's a classic. I had a couple beers story. So of our team here at Cardlines, I coach a number of youth sports in our area, and we had a couple years ago we had a birthday party for my son and invited all the parents to come hang out, and our partner Rob from Cardlines as well came and hang out, and we were sitting around talking, and they gave my son birthday present of a box of cards. And so we got talking about cards, and I didn't even know at the time that he was locally running cards. And so we got to talking, and ultimately he's like, "Yeah, we were really wanting to get into breaking or get back into breaking. We did a little breaking in the past, and we wanted to try and get after it, but we have no one dumb enough to get on camera." And I did one of those classic, like, slam the rest of my beers, like, "Well, I'll get on camera," just sort of jokingly. And then a week later, I was here at Cardlines talking to Rob, and we started talking about how the heck we were going to actually break. And we just haven't looked back since.
That is phenomenal. So it's kind of the origin story. Can I ask why you break cards as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I am a sports nut at heart. Baseball has always been the core of my sports love. Grew up collecting baseball cards, playing baseball, watching baseball, knowing, always amazing all my parents' friends by all the stats I knew. Becoming a parent kind of got me away from collecting. It was like, oh, that's a little irresponsible. I missed out on, the years when you could have gotten some really cheap stuff that's now very, very valuable. But COVID brought me storming right back into the hobby, and I got introduced to the breaking world. And I have just become so immersed back into collecting. So why do I break? Because the collector in me just wants to feed that fun. I have so much fun when I rip cards and when we get hits. Even to the point, right? Sometimes people in the chat might tease me because I'm getting so excited over a $1 or $2 hit. But I just love the chase. I hope that the experience that I provide in my ripping is that it feels like you and I are just sitting around a table, opening cards together and celebrating hits together. And that, just like a golfer, right? You play 18 holes of golf, you hit those two shots that make you come back for more. I just can't get enough of those two hits, those autographs. And I love the hobby, and it's an absolute, the 10-year-old boy in me is looking at me right now going, "That's what I wanted you to do when you grow up." And that's why I break.
Absolutely. And I think you've captured that feel with what you're doing with Cardlines Breaks. It's that nostalgic. It's not the production where it's like, hey, we got Drake music bumping in the background. There's so much over the top stuff. To kind of expand on that, there's good breaks, there's bad breaks. But what would you say, as you think about breaking cards, are the necessary parts of a good break?
I think, and I'm always one of the first ones to say, I don't think I run a great break, but I'm very proud of the break I run, and that I think it has the fundamentals of a great break. And so, as you mentioned it, right, I'm not a DJ spinning records while I do it. We don't always do the sexiest of products, if you will, but I think the tenets of a good break to me are, complete transparency across the board in what we're running, how we list it, making sure people understand how many boxes are involved, what are the contents of those boxes, what the break really is. And we're very proud of the fact that we of course have questions about, sometimes everyone doesn't maybe quite understand the contents, or we have a few times where we might mess up a date or something like that, but we have way more positive feedback than not that people know what they're breaking, when to hop on and find us, and all those sorts of things. And then that transparency ringing all the way through. We have, some things you see, especially in the live environment, that we continue to do, even though it takes up valuable real estate on our screen, is the multi-camera. So we have an overhead camera, we have the face camera. As much as I would prefer my face to not always be on there all the time, I'm always on there. And then, the cards. So it is virtually impossible for us to do any sort of that sleight of hand, because we would be caught on camera and doing it. And more importantly, we don't want to do that sort of stuff. So the transparency, the honesty, and then I think other couple key tenets are, just a general experience. There's a lot of breakers out there, and great breakers out there, that they slam through the cards and they'll get you done in 5 or 10 minutes. And that can be a great experience, right? If you're on a little work break, or if it's your lunch, or it's late at night, or things like that, and you want to quick see, hey, I bought in this. Did I get a couple hits? That's great. And then there's some other folks that, run, 5 case breaks and things like that. And that's, if you're chasing the opportunity to get a lot of stuff or get those home run hits, right? Those are great breaks. But we always try to run at Cardlines, we try to run a good mix of volume, value, and we're able to run hobby and retail and things like that, so that we hopefully have a short enough break to keep people engaged, and a long enough break to let people see what they're getting. So that experience that we want to provide at Cardlines is that you are sitting around the table with us opening cards, and we show and we try to celebrate, everything. And that does slow us down a little bit, right? I could ram through a bunch of the commons, and I do get faster through those commons, but I still like to call out any player we get, because the rookies, the prospects, the veterans who heat up, those change every day. And I like to think, as a good breaker, I'm aware of who's having a good week and things like that, and we can celebrate those cards together. And maybe someone that doesn't get the autograph out of the box walks away from the experience a little bit better, knowing that, they got a couple good cards, or they got things for their PC. So the general, just having customers feel like they walked away, they got some value, they got some entertainment. And then one other piece, that I'm super proud of, that I think makes a good break, is also just being a little different from everything else out there, all the noise out there. And so we do a lot of things around giveaways, but how we do giveaways, a more unique experience. We do this hit counter, and that keeps people chatting with us and engaged the whole time. When we run 4 or 5 hour breaks, we tend to have our customers on with us for 4 or 5 hours talking and chatting, and doing that helps earn some giveaways. So it's a lot of those little things, right? Combined with transparency and a value, volume, pace, that we feel like makes a great break. And it's the experience we strive to make every time we run a break.
You guys capture it very well. I've bought into them, so I'm speaking as a customer when I say I think the pacing's done very well. And it's easy to lose sight of this part of it because so many of our viewers on YouTube have come from the breaks. But Cardlines started as like a news information media company that's like, here's our expert analysis about these cards and what you should do with them. And I think that expertise you're talking about the value of the breaks and the particular sets that you're opening, that expertise translates there in that you do a good job of breaking cards that, to me, I buy in because I feel like you're getting a pretty good value. Quick way to set hundreds of dollars on fire is buying into like a flawless break, and you guys break stuff where there's better chances of a positive ROI. So I really like that about the Cardlines Breaks too. But now that you're breaking cards all the time. You're on eBay Live, you're on YouTube, you're doing it everywhere, all these places, all these sets, all these cards, all these sports. How do you prepare?
That's one of the most interesting parts, and one of the biggest areas that I'm still learning, having not spent, I spent 25 years in the corporate world. And so I get a lot of the business side of things, but I don't know some of the industry as well. So I'm learning some of that. But how we prepare is it's a daily conversation where we're looking through and seeing what's available to us, what the new releases are, what's upcoming, and trying to visualize out what's going to make a good break, what's not, what's going to fit our breaking model, or we can get our hands on some of that other high end product. And sometimes we do. We've been fortunate enough to get some where we're at points where we can run it. But it's really kind of a daily conversation where we're looking at what we can get available to us and how quickly we can turn that into breaks, and then planning out the schedule of resources and things like that. And from a planning perspective, my goal is always to then do my homework and make sure I understand what the general configurations of those products are going to be, the new parallels, new inserts, and things like that come out, and then just always staying up on our content and staying up on other industry news and sports news, so that when I'm going to break, I do have some of that commentary that's relevant and makes people feel like they're getting more value, or makes people feel like those cards are better hits, because I'm able to point out, hey, that guy had a 3 home run game last night, things like that. So it's really just a lot of keeping my head on a swivel and always thinking through. But the main goal as we're preparing for how we're going to break is thinking through our general customer and what we see their trends, and making sure that we don't overshoot or undershoot them. And that's a big challenge to weigh through.
I'm going to launch on to one small thing that you said in that response that I didn't want to get buried. You're doing this essentially, along with other Cardlines operations, you're doing this full time. Like, you're devoting a lot of time and effort into studying the set, studying the market, studying the trends, and trying to do some projection of like what is going to be a good break. There's so many, John Smiths on Whatnot right now that are just breaking,
Yeah.
and they're just doing what they can to just kind of stay up with it. But you're doing it full time, and you're doing it with intent. And I think that's one of the big contributing factors to why I've seen it grow so quickly, and why clearly like the customer base for Cardlines Breaks is growing very quickly as well. But when it comes to breaks and getting cards to all those customers, dude, I gotta ask, how do you deal with the shipping, and how fast do you ship? Because I can imagine that is a absolute headache. I see how many cards you go through on the daily.
I think that's probably something when a lot of people think, hey, I'm going to get into, I'm going to start running shows on Whatnot or eBay, or, some of the other channels that are out there. I think a lot of people then don't realize the back end administrative stuff that has to be done, especially post show. You've got to then make sure you've got some sort of organization where what orders are going to who, and pack them up and pack them securely. A lot of people, this is investment for them. This is their collection. This is their love. And so they don't take kindly to things taking a long time to get to them, and they don't take kindly to things not being properly protected and taken care of. So it's quite an undertaking. However, when we first kind of restarted back in November 2023, when we really first relaunched Cardlines Breaks, from day one, we made sure that we had everything connected up. We sell, 98% of what we're selling is through eBay. We've got eBay connected to a shipping software platform. And the integration of those two allows us to have a very concise list of who we need to ship to what. And so while I'm breaking on screen, we also always have a moderator. Normally, I always have a moderator behind screens that's also then taking those cards and sorting them in and getting them ready and team bagging them, so that when I get off screen, we're able to quickly put all the orders together, make sure everyone's correct, make sure it's all there. And then we go through a process of securing all the cards between Priority Express level cardboard, and then we put them into bubble packages and boxes and things like that. And our goal, we always strive to ship within 24 hours of our break. Exceptions come around holidays, like yesterday was Columbus Day. So, we have days like that where the mail goes out delayed. We're getting stuff shipped out and packaged up the night of, day of, and going in the mail the next day. And to circling back to your question of what makes a good break, that's that transparency and experience all the way through. Once you see those cards pulled and you're excited you got them, you want them in your hands quickly. And if your experience is that it then takes you 2 weeks to get those cards, you kind of forget that, and probably kind of maybe forget that breaker. So the faster we can get it to you, the faster it allows you to then celebrate it. And hopefully it's getting to you securely, safely, quickly. And that provides a type of experience where you want to go into the next break we have, because we do take the care in doing that. So we don't just put them in standard envelopes. We really make sure that the cards are coming safely packaged to you.
It can't be overstated just how important branding is for the Cardlines Breaks. We have so many different touch points connecting to the customers and written content, weekly newsletters, video content. Now we have the breaks, and like you said, your breaks are very different than everybody else's. So let's do one final question here. Cardlines Breaks, I've seen it firsthand. It's growing rapidly, good stuff going on along the works. What are just a couple little teases that you think over the next, year or two, maybe even more short term, that you're excited to roll out? Give us just a tiny preview of something you're excited about.
One of the things that I'll touch on again that kind of adds into this question is, why we think we run a good break or what's important to us is that always striving to have the customer first. I am still a collector at heart. So I always ask myself, is what we're doing something I as a customer would like, would be happy about, would be proud of? And so what we're really excited about going forward, and we're not a big shop yet. We'd love to be. So it just takes time and resources to do it. But I'll tease out, we are feverishly working at building a loyalty program, a customer loyalty program that would help entail all the different ways you can interact with us, buy from us, support us, share us socially. All those sorts of things would earn points in a way that we really want to be. We don't want us to be creating, do 10 things and you get a free box of cards, so to speak, but a lifelong type of membership. And the hope being that over time, you can continue to become more and more a partner with us. And those rewards could be endless in terms of free product, access to breaks, access to exclusive breaks, things like that, and more community type of approach through the use of other social channels that we have at our disposal are two really big things that are on our roadmap for the next few years. Beyond that, right, we hope all that continues to give us the opportunity to do more content, to really grow, expand, and take our website and how we can provide products and breaks and things more directly on our website. And all of that is an end minutia that maybe someday we're going and doing store release opens like Tom Brady in his card vault type of thing. That's a big tease. I don't know if we'll get there, but that's the goal, is just the ways that we can continue to expand what we do, how we do, so that you, our end customer, continue to always have that good experience, can find us and get products provided by us wherever and however you want, and continue to have that family experience interaction. And hopefully, for the foreseeable future, still inviting me to your table or couch to rip with you.
And speaking of future endeavors, by the time people are seeing this video, I think one of our Box Wars series has dropped. But do you want to tease that a little bit? Point the viewers towards the Box War video 1 and tell them what we have coming up, because I think it's going to be fun.
Thanks, Jesse. I'm really excited, guys. We do so much breaking of the traditional sports, and this industry is rapidly growing in ways we haven't even touched yet. But all the trading card games, Pokemon, Disney, there's Harry Potter cards and Lord of the Ring cards, and so much of the collectibles industry. And from a breaking standpoint, we've really only touched on the major sports just because that's the customers we have and we know. So Jesse and I are doing this Box War series as kind of a fun way to show alternatives that are out there, not even just non-sport, but other sports, golf, multi-sport, tennis, soccer in there. But some of the other areas that you can find cards, possibly find breaks in, and help customers kind of see if there's value in some of those, or in many cases, those might be more valuable right now than some of the major sports cards. So I'm really excited. We've got a series of stuff. I think we'll get better in production as we go, and hopefully that'll launch even more things and be able to do some more fun stuff. And it's a really cool way, Jesse, for you and I to work together and just show people what's out there.
I couldn't agree more. It's going to be super duper fun. I was editing video 3 today, and I can just tell you now, there's some laughs in there, there's some nice cards, and most of all, I think it's really educational just to see how some of this TCG stuff or alternative sports is stacking up against these mainstream sports, and some of the value that those more alternative, less mainstream sets can potentially produce. Do you have any just closing thoughts for anybody who's watching this and has not participated in a Cardlines Break?
Yeah, we're working hard. It's a ton of fun, and I just want to implore anyone out there, if you're watching this video and you haven't broken with us yet, there's plenty out there, right? But you're one of the few that hasn't found us and come dear to us. It's something I take a lot of pride in. It humbles me a lot, but I welcome everyone to join us in. We hope you have that family experience. Like I always say, it's another day. It's always another chance to chase some cardboard gold and let go of the stress of the world and see if we can't do something fun together.
Thanks, dude. Appreciate you taking your time out of your busy schedule. I know you're breaking all the time. You hopped on to shine some light on the Cardlines Breaks. They're family friendly, they're fun, they're great pace, they're great value. Thanks for joining this interview.
I always also sign off all my breaks off saying, be good to yourselves, be good to others, and let's chase that cardboard gold. And I would leave this interview with the same thing, is that's what we're all about here. It's more than baseball cards to us. It's a way of life. It's a way of having fun. It's a way of connecting. And we invite you to connect with us. And while you're at it, connecting with us, we wouldn't mind if you, subscribed, shared some things with your friends, and do all that sort of stuff on social media. That's going to help us grow.
And we will see you next time.